Hello and welcome to the next video. In this video I'm going to be talking about an experience I had in Kyoto, Japan. So I had mentioned before in a previous video about one of the ways that I overcame the language difficulties was to go to language exchanges, specifically one in Kyoto, Japan. And I'll call this story the language exchange doctor. So I would go to Kyoto, I think I'd mentioned before, on Sunday nights to go to this meet-up language exchange in an Irish pub called the Pig and the Whistle, or I think it was a British pub, pardon. And it was the format, as I had said before, was you pay a certain amount, I think it was like 500 yen per participant, and it gets you, free snacks, and then I think we had like a discount on some types of drinks, but prices were pretty reasonable. Otherwise, they'd have varying tables, you'd sit at them, you have your name tag, you'd have a symbol, a square or a triangle or a circle, and at a certain point, okay, all the squares go here, all the triangles go here, make sure you're constantly talking to different people and you're moving around, and write down the languages you can speak, and maybe, what level you're in if you like, and then that way you can find people to talk with, and then, okay, it's Japanese time, okay, it's English time, let's say it's any language time. And you just go and chat with people, male, female, doesn't matter. So I'm out there one night and go up to one of the one of the tables, and I'm, where it's standing table, and I think I was in a group of maybe 4 or 5 people chatting, and one of the ladies that comes over to where I'm at, average height, I'm 6 feet tall, by the way, so she's a little bit short, shorter than me, but average height, very attractive Japanese woman comes to the table, and we kind of locked eyes and exchanged pleasantries and had a really good conversation. Just chatted away, and it was nonstop. Oh, what do you do for a living? How long have you been here? Oh, have you traveled? Where have you traveled to? What languages do you speak? And so on. Found out she's a doctor. Found out she was in her, I believe in her either late 20s or early 30s. Single, never been married, no children. And at the time I was obviously looking to make friends in Japan, but I was also looking for something romantic with a local. In part to, stave off loneliness, find somebody who I was compatible with, and to have that bridge between cultures, which is very important for expats. Relationships do help in many ways, not just the obvious. So we're having this good conversation, and it seems like we're both very interested in each other. And at a certain point when we're talking about what I do, she says, "Oh, what type of students do you teach?" Because I mentioned I worked in an eikaiwa, which is a conversation school. And we're having this conversation in English, by the way. Her English is impeccable. And I said, "Well, I teach. My eldest student is in their mid-80s. My youngest student is 2 years old." "Oh, wow, you teach children?" I said, "Yeah, it's part of it. Most eikaiwas, you're going to have students who are very young. They kind of cater to everyone." She's like, "Oh, you must be really good with kids." I said, "No, not really. I mean, this is the first time I've taught kids this young, ever since coming from China. It's a challenge." "Oh, but I'm sure you want to have kids and you like kids." I said, No, don't really like kids." "Really?" And she says, "Why not?" I said, "Well, I'm a bit older now, and I just want to find somebody I can settle down with and enjoy life with them, and share my life with this person. And children are very expensive; they're very time consuming. Not saying that children are for no one, but for me, and especially at the time, and even now, I have no interest in having children. I have no interest in raising children." And I just want to be with somebody and enjoy their company and travel and do stuff and That's what I'm looking for. When I said these things, the vibe that I was getting, and I'm sure she was getting from me prior to that, was, wow, this person's interesting, and that kind of excited half smile when you meet someone and that you find interesting and that you might be attracted to. Everything was great up until that point. At that point, I saw her face get really serious, have a serious look on her face, and the conversation just died. She just stopped talking. And after a couple seconds, I said, okay, I thought to myself, okay, I need to ask a few questions here and see what's going on. So I said to her, let me guess, you are looking to get married? She goes, yes, because she was a little older at the time than most. And I assume you want to have kids. She goes, yes. Oh, well, okay, well. And of course the conversation dies again. But I try to get it going again just to be friendly and not to leave that awkwardness in the air. So I think I switched up to hobbies or something else. But there was no going back. She didn't seem as interested. It was as if somebody just turned the key and locked the door, or the lights went out. Whatever rapport we had died, simply because I mentioned I didn't want kids and she wanted kids. And I know some women will say, well, you messed up. You should have said, well, maybe I want kids, or it just depends. But as I've gotten older, I've realized you have to be honest with people, and this, should be honest with people up front. Shouldn't beat around the bush. Shouldn't say, well, maybe, when the answer in your heart and your mind is a definite no otherwise. Be honest. Be yourself. However, in this case, I got to see that this is what she was looking for. She was probably going to language exchange, in part to practice English, but also to maybe look for an expat that she can date, marry, have children with. And here I was, the one that she was interested in, and I ended that fantasy for her. Now, under normal circumstances, in a situation where there's 50 to 80 people there, a lot of expats, I'm not the only tall person, I'm not the only white person, I'm not the only, I would imagine, seemingly attractive person there, or the only man. What a logical person would do is just say, okay, well, it's nice talking to you, gonna mingle around, and, that would be the end of it. It makes sense. Fine. But no, what I found comical about the whole scenario was she, after, much more awkward moments, she excused herself from the table. I, look out, I see her walk away. They had a coat rack, because I think if it wasn't winter, it was still, we're still getting out of winter, or maybe going into winter at the time. So they usually have a coat rack, and people come in and drop their coats there and get comfortable, because, there's climate controls and the pig in the whistle. She goes over, she grabs her coat, puts it on, and walks out the door. Now, this would have also made sense for her to do that if it was, the last hour or last half hour of the event. But no, she left. It was either the halfway point of a 3-hour event or an hour into a 3-hour event. So there was ample time to speak to other people. There were still a large number of people there. There were a variety of people. You had already spent money to go to this exchange to talk to, meet other people. But I guess because I was maybe the only person she was attracted to or interested in, she decided to leave, although I thought it was kind of silly, because what about everybody else here? So, kind of disappointed that the conversation died, and this person who I found attractive and who seemingly found me attractive acted that way. But comical just because of the what she had done afterwards. Anyway, that was my language exchange doctor scenario in Kyoto. See you in the next video.